everyone, and welcome back to Miami, South Florida. Represent Central Florida.
I was
like, qualify?
You are not from South Florida, and we are not based in South Florida.
We're close
I'm
enough.
from South Florida.
Yeah, so we have a South Florida correspondent
There we
here.
go. Welcome back to Good Mike Hunting.
Wow.
Finally.
We made it back.
A Robin Williams career arc series here on We Bought a Mic. My name's Ernest.
My name is Hunter, and I never do a podcast without my peer and tablets.
Is that your quote of choice?
Yeah.
There's so many to choose from.
That was just kind of the first thing that popped in mind.
I know. There's one that like would be borderline like rude to the source material to steal from that I was thinking you would, where like it's the one I'm Drew, by the way. It's the one where Robin is talking to his son and he's like, I'm a middle-aged blank, and I thought you were gonna switch it to podcaster.
No, but I'll keep that in mind. That's what you would want me to do, is to appropriate.
No, it's just what I thought you might.
Gay culture with.
And we have a
podcasters.
guest.
And joining us from a penthouse on top of a drag club on Miami Beach, South Beach. Welcome, Christine. Welcome back. How's it going?
Thanks. It's I ate too much.
No. No.
Well,
No
at
such
least
thing.
you're satiated and ready to dive in.
Was it peasant stew?
Ate too much peasant stew.
I really want to try whatever that man was cooking up.
That was actually, I was late to the podcast today, not because I was making a pot roast, but because I was making a peasant stew, and I forgot the shrimp. And so,
confirm.
yeah.
We're excited to have you back. We had you on for what's probably the most memorable movie from our Nick Cage series.
Probably the best movie I've ever seen.
Yeah.
To this day.
I'm glad I changed Drew's life with that one.
Like,
Vampire's Kiss.
I'm fundamentally different.
We're going to have to try to find a hot yogurt type moment from this. The bar is so high. We'll try the best.
That was an amazing movie. And I didn't go into this movie, The Birdcage, thinking that it was going to have a similar type of stature in the series. And I think it might. I think I'd never seen this movie before, much like I'd never seen Vampire's Kiss before. Two completely different movies. And it took me a longer time to come around on Vampire's Kiss. I was really thrown off by that one.
By how it's like bad.
By how it's like so good that it like surpasses any kind of like actual adjectives that would equate it with like a good movie.
This one, not a bad movie at all.
No,
incredible movie.
Yeah, you very quickly realize that this is pretty good in every way. If we're comparing to Vampire's Kiss especially, but you're like, okay, so we're getting Mike Nichols directing. It looks great. Every actor in it rules. That's cool. The script is pretty fucking killer. And Robin Williams has a mustache, which I think he could have kept. I think he should have kind of rolled with that for a little bit.
We'll get into this, but he looks hot as fuck in this.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's a debate. This is the hottest that Robin Williams ever is.
The fits are out of control. In this fucking movie, he is so swagged up. His drip is like it's the most drip he's ever had.
So, Christine, this was a very hotly contested movie when I started reaching out for guests for this series. And let me just say, you are lucky that you got this, because people were upset that this one was snapped up so quickly.
Really?
So tell us why do you like it?
I grew up with it. I probably saw this movie way too young. And I grew up in South Florida. Like, I watched this and I could pinpoint like all those places and all those characters. I know so many people like Agador. It's not funny. So it's home. And I think it's a lot of people I know haven't seen it. And I think it's one of Robin Williams' underrated performances. Like, it doesn't get like Hook is great, Dead Poets, obviously, like everything. But this is like amazing. I love it. And the whole Michael Kidd scene, like, come on, some of his best.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it is kind of underrated when it comes to, I think it's properly rated when it comes to film people. Like, I see a lot of love for it on Letterboxd and stuff, but in terms of like the Robin Williams canon, he has so many other movies that take up the spotlight away from this one.
Well, and he's even though he is still doing I'm not talking like Awakenings level like underacting, but he is understated in this part, meaning he's bringing exactly what he needs to. And because this movie to me is like a showcase for Nathan Lane.
Yes.
Oh,
to
yeah.
just like go absolutely nuts.
He's perfect.
He goes ape shit in this movie. He's so fucking funny.
This is the best so far that we've seen in this series of like quiet performance Robin Williams, because we've seen quiet performance Robin Williams go bad. We've seen it really, really not work and just be completely flat. And in this, he is just he's like the perfect like point guard who's just setting up Nathan Lane in these scenes to just feast on like all of the scenery that's being laid out here. And that's not to take anything away from Robin Williams, because he's doing exactly what he needs to, exactly what this part calls for.
So, Christine, are you a big Robin Williams head? Do you familiarize yourself with a lot of his movies outside of this one? What's kind of your take on the guy?
Like, I know a good amount. I dabble. I know he had a pug, so we love that.
Okay. We didn't know that, did we? Shit.
Some of us did, the real ones, but real pugs, no real pugs. But I know a lot of his stuff. Like, there are things that like I haven't seen Good Will Hunting, but I know a lot of his other stuff. So I grew up with him.
Wow, his pug's name was Leonard.
Ooh, your father.
That's a funny pug name.
Was it your dad?
Is your dad Robin Williams?
Is your dad?
I don't know. I haven't done 23.
Your grandfather Robin Williams?
I might be part dog.
So okay, this movie I think might be one of my favorite movies down the road. I think that I came into it not having seen it, and it didn't jump out to me immediately as like, 10 out of 10. Like, there's a couple of things in it that I could nitpick.
Yeah,
but sure. I think over time, I feel like I'm gonna be drawn to this movie. Like, this is one of those that I'll feel like a rewatchable. Like, I'll be drawn to put it on and like grow more, kind of attracted to it.
That was one of the key thoughts I had. Is this? It passes the hang test. Like, I can hang out watching this movie like a lot. Yeah. Like, it's just it has such a good feel to it. And as far and everything is so fundamentally sound that like I don't know, you feel like you're in really solid hands even when there are like one or two hiccups, mostly with like how the story plays out, I guess you would say. It's just like I could watch this movie like once a week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's a vibe.
It rocks.
I mean, look, it makes sense when you consider like it's a Mike Nichols joint and Elaine May has script credits on it. Like, it's just like the legends are coming together that of course this is going to slap, but there's something kind of, it's odd because this movie has like almost a whimsical nature to it. Like, it is not really interested in any kind of conflict in any like real serious manner. Which we're looking at it from like a 2022 lens is different than looking at it from mid 1990s, 96, whenever it came out, just because actual gender politics have changed drastically in that time period.
But it is kind of ahead of its time in a lot of ways.
1,000%
96.
It is. And like Gene Hackman in this movie, who we're going to get to him, is fucking wonderful. But like, he's never presented as like this like villainous figure. Like, in a way that a lot of other movies,
he's more of a dope than anything else.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he's on
like pills. He is like zonked out. It's really funny.
But for that, it's just like a very classic comedy. And like, yeah, there's like themes and stuff like that you can take away from it. That's, I think, one of the things that makes it timeless. But like, at the end of the day, it is just a hang. It's just fun, just hanging out with your friends. Just like, oh man, I just want to hang out with Albert and just see him out there as Starina tonight.
Let me lay out the log line really quick before we go any farther, just so we can get it out of the way. It's a gay cabaret owner and his drag queen companion agreed to put up a false straight front so that their son can introduce them to his fiance's right-wing moralistic parents. So
a lot there already.
Yeah.
And the movie kind of takes its time to reveal
the
extent of all that.
It's very, very, I mean, it's based on a Poirot like stage play that turned into a movie in France.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it was already a film.
Yeah, and well, it's written like it has like almost like Shakespearean story structure to it, where like in the premise of it is irony. Like you already see the story and the conflict and the you can hear a movie when you hear that one sentence, which is true of like most classic stage plays. I
feel like the way this movie plays it though, like when we see Nathan Lane doing the drag show at the beginning, that is a perfect setup, but by the time it pays off at the end, it comes as a surprise, right? Like you are kind of like set up to expect that reveal, but it's still played as a shock. And it has to, because the characters are shocked. And that's like one of the best parts of the movie is when they react to that moment. The looks on their faces when they see him is incredible.
The way they reveal information generally is really it's smart. Like you said, it's well measured. The first example of that is Nathan Lane is suspicious of Robin Williams, which, well, let's call them, Armand and Albert. But Albert is suspicious of Armand seeing another person in secret. And we don't find out who that person is until like the middle of the conversation between between Armand and this guy. Like we are totally in the dark until like 2/3 through the scene, which to me is really, really good screenwriting.
He's like touching his face.
That's
like
great
caressing
writing.
him.
That's genuinely like quality. It's a good little like flourish to throw on top of your script, just to like it adds drama, it adds irony, it adds everything.
So I want to get to Van in a second, but before we get to that, like right away at the top of the movie, they do an incredible job at setting up this world. The movie starts like the camera's like zooming into South Beach.
It's kind of like doing like their play on the Copa scene in Goodfellas. Like it's just like, what if we're just gonna have
in the club?
Yeah, we're just gonna have the Scorsese shot of you just walking around in the club with club owner Robin Williams.
Christine, you grew up in like the thongs mandatory section of Miami Beach. This takes place.
I grew up in a drag club.
Close
enough. Yeah,
drag club where you walk outside and people are so close to naked.
Actually, growing up, there used to be like it was not uncommon for there to be like girls in like thongs selling hot dogs.
Oh hell yeah!
I'm not even kidding. I remember my mom would be like, but like we would get hot dogs. So, but yeah,
you're not gonna not get a hot dog. I mean,
So it feels lived in, but still, it is like it's like fantastical. Like the club itself is extremely cool. The living space is like otherworldly. It is some of the coolest set design I've ever seen in my life.
What do we think this house is worth? That was
it is worth
it's
so
like what
much.
$10 million, $20 million house
in today's market. Like Zillow would buy it for like 30 million, and then they turn it into like 14 apartments.
Right.
It's remarkable how well designed the set is. How cool like the outdoor space on the roof, and then coming into the most insanely decorated interior of living space I've ever seen. That is like it's colorful and it's over the top, but it's all in a very like intentional way. The first thing I wrote down like watching the movie was that the living space and the club spaces are absolutely dope. And as it turns out, that's the only Oscar this whole thing was nominated for was production design.
Yeah.
Hasn't aged well at all.
No.
This movie should have been nominated for Best Picture.
Nathan Lane.
Yeah, Nathan Lane
100%.
should have won. I mean, who won this year? 96, Hunter. Let's go. Off the top.
I know.
So 96 is the Braveheart year. So that's already not great.
They could put him in
Let's see.
supporting.
Academy Awards.
Oh, Nathan Lane? Yes, of course. Yeah.
It's K-Space, Usual Suspects.
Yeah, that was the year of I mean, I don't.
Oh, actually, sorry, I got it mixed up because the Oscars were in 96, but it was for the 95 movie year. This was the English Patient year, which boy, oh boy, god damn, is this movie better than the English Patient? The English Patient, talk about a movie that's on like, what's the opposite of rewatchable? An unwatchable movie. That's what I think of the English Patient. Yeah, what's the opposite of Schindler's List? It's the English Patient. What's sad is like this is a great movie year. Here are your other nominees for Best Picture: Fargo,
Okay.
Jerry Maguire, which honestly should have won. That was like the other front runner.
So then Cuba won.
Yeah,
supporting.
Cuba won supporting that year. Anthony Minghella won Best Director for The English Patients.
It just hasn't aged well that this
not
didn't get nominated. It did. I saw it did win a couple SAG awards. Like it won the Ensemble Award at the SAG. So at least the actor guild was able to recognize
absolutely
the
deserves
the strength.
The ensemble is like outrageously good in this. Like you have their son is like shockingly getting married to the daughter of a conservative senator
played by Gene Hackman.
Gene Hackman. His wife is Dianne Wiest. Incredible fucking power couple.
Man.
Just absolutely slay. They're both so fucking funny. The kid, their son is named Val. He's played by Dan Futterman.
Aw.
Dude, this fucking guy. I want to punch his little nose.
What's your take on Val, Christine? How did you
sucks.
feel about for the longest time that you've seen this movie, you felt this way?
I mean, when I was little, I didn't get it entirely, but I was like, he kind of sucks.
Yeah,
And he sucks. And I wrote down in my notes, Val doesn't deserve happiness.
He fully doesn't. I was genuinely getting upset during the movie. I was like, they have to make me like him a little bit, or else I'm just gonna want him off my screen.
It was really
I was
tough.
like, this kid sucks. He's so mean.
I listened to there's a podcast where they talk about like rom-coms, and they literally said in like their description, Val is the villain in like all caps.
Yes,
So,
sir.
and they're right. He's the worst.
That's
terrible.
he genuinely is way more of a villain than like Gene Hackman is. They don't even encounter Gene Hackman until the end of the movie. They're dealing with Val being the most irredeemably mean person.
Meanwhile, Armand and Albert are still kind of putting up with all of Val's shit.
Oh,
and
Armand is very.
Armand's just like, well, I guess it was hard for him growing up with two dads. It's like, no, you guys seem like you were so loving that he grew up in like a very stable household for the most part.
a cup
and fucking loaded. Let's
Rich
talk
as
about
hell.
growing up on South Beach.
Yeah. What kind of life do you want, kid?
Right.
He definitely was creeping on an underage woman, because he said that him and this girl were sleeping together for at least a year. She's 18. They probably knew each other before they were sleeping together. So our boy Val was sleeping with a 16-year-old.
Honey,
so
you're canceled.
They say that she's 19, or she's 19 now, and then they say she was 18, and they're like supposed to be a year apart.
Okay.
The actor playing Val, that man looks like he's 30, like straight up.
He definitely does.
I think he's supposed to be like right around her age, like a year apart.
20. Yeah, no, he's
they're both
20.
in college.
I couldn't figure out whether to blame Dan Futterman or the script. I kind of ended up on blaming the script for this, because it's one thing to establish that he is bringing the conflict into the movie. You have to dislike him somewhat, because he's the one coming to the characters that we love and saying, hey, be less gay.
Which is a real tough pill to swallow, especially in 2022.
Yeah, and especially for fucking Albert. Just everything Albert does, this kid hates. This kid's like, God, just go away, Albert. It's like the amount of L's that Albert takes in this movie is so brutal.
There's so many things that there's so many like hurdles that this movie gets over flawlessly. And like, first of all, the beginning setup of this relationship, flawless. Like right away, within minutes, we buy into remind me the names, Armand and Albert. You buy that they've been together and that they love each other and they have a layered, storied relationship together. Like that buy-in is perfect. Then you have to buy into the fact that like devil's advocate here, that Val is representing the majority of the movie-going audience at the time, I would say, right? That South Beach, Miami is an outlier when it comes to accepting the lifestyle that we're seeing.
No,
here.
of course. Where he comes down and he's like, hey, like, I love you guys so much. However, you have to tone it down, which is probably, yeah, you're right. Some viewers were probably thinking that as well.
Right. And then the third hurdle is that it does all these things without ever sacrificing how fun this movie is. Like all of that, given all of that, this is never like a hard drama about like the struggle of this gay couple to be accepted in their son's life.
I do wonder because so Elaine May has final screenplay credits on this thing, but this was, as you said, based on a play, and there before Elaine May took over, this screenplay exchanged hands 4 times. So I wonder if that was like an earlier script thing of we try to add more in here about Val having an emotional moment with Armand about like why he needs them to be this way. And they tried to run it in the script and they just said this fucks up the pace. At the end of the day, we're trying to keep things light. We're trying to keep things moving. So let's just make Val suck and we just won't acknowledge it because it's better for like the movie as a whole.
Almost 2 decades in between the original French film and this.
That's wild.
Yeah. 18
The French
18
are
years.
ahead of their time.
Right. And even the play itself was 73. So that's 23 years. So yeah, I can see why they might have struggled to find the perfect way to bring it to American audiences. And it's crazy because like, yeah, you can see this movie and try to put 96 goggles on and be like, okay, how might have people responded to this type of story? But I think even in it's kind of sad to say this, but even in 2022, like you could see why this could still work. Like a scenario like this could still be applicable today.
Oh yeah,
it is kind of sad that
you could very easily like
a guy like Gene Hackman is like running. It's like basically fucking Lindsey Graham or some shit.
You could get you could get some sandpaper and like edge down some of like the themes and things like that are in Birdcage and put it through like a vanilla machine and spit it out on Netflix tomorrow as like a new miniseries starring fucking whoever the hell. And it would suck. It would be awful.
Miles Teller is Val?
No.
No.
Miles
If
Teller
anything,
sucks.
So that he might be a good Val then.
Yeah, that Val.
No. If anything, we're talking like
Val is played by that kid Ty Sheridan.
Yeah.
No, he's
I was
what's
picturing
his
like a
face from
Jacob
Dune?
Elordi type.
Oh,
as-
Timmy
Oh,
Chalamet.
Timmy is Val.
Don't put
can't.
Don't put that on
No.
Timothy Chalamet.
He already sucks. He's a terrible person, but he could play Val.
What about like a Jacob Elordi type? Jacob Elordi grows up and
Oh.
he's
Yes, from Euphoria.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. So yeah, you were getting at something, Drew, about how like the bulk of this movie is dedicated to a lot of scenes where it's really tough to not look at Val and be like, fuck this guy, get him out of here. And I think that that's yet another hurdle that this movie manages to get over. That
It
for
does.
so many scenes you don't like looking at what's happening.
Well, it's because it has the trump card of like you know, if you ever want to wonder why are they helping him, it's their fucking son. So like you can't, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter how much your kid sucks. If you're like a good dad the way that Armand is, you're gonna help him.
Yeah, it's more points in their direction that they're dealing with this shitty kid and that they're the ones sacrificing their own livelihood
Yeah.
or even, you know, level of comfort to go around and please this fucking kid.
Exactly. And the other like chunk of the movie that we deserves a lot of credit. It's twofold. One, what you said earlier about like how their relationship works, the core two, that's on Robin, and that's why I'm really glad that we are watching this during the Robin series in particular, because this is, I think, some of his best tender acting ever,
Mhm.
where he is bringing pathos to a relationship and a character and a story, because you just have to believe he's a good person,
Right.
and not just a good person. I don't know. He's complicated. He's not perfect. He's vulnerable, but also way more gruff than fucking Albert.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, he's a very complex character, and it's played very empathetically because, you know, it could be going down the wrong path to cast like Robin Williams playing a gay man.
Yeah,
Right.
for sure.
Obviously,
There's
and
a
you
whole,
wouldn't do that today, but
there's a whole other movie that's just him running the club, right? And there's no son, there's no Gene Hackman, nothing. And it's literally just the birdcage, the process of running the birdcage. And I think that Robin would excel in that role and go full Robin wherever he needs to.
Yes.
But that's not the assignment.
No, but he does in the couple of moments where he is running
Which
the
are
birdcage.
great moments.
The scene where he's coaching the guy and he's like, Madonna.
Yeah.
Fussy.
Yeah, he goes through all that, and then at the end, he's like, "But you keep it all inside." Because
That's like what he's doing. It's just him talking about his
so
performance
funny.
in this movie. I mean, it's kind of like seeing Robin's maturity, like as an actor here, is like
This is
kind of
right
this is,
after Jumanji.
right. Like we are finding
is
the
crazy.
point, which Jumanji though does have a little bit of quiet acting in there, and the quieter moments in
Yeah.
Jumanji are like the things that have aged the best from that movie, in my
Yeah.
opinion, at least as far as his performance goes, and I think that he's kind of finally starting to channel this, and this is going to carry through until we actually get to Good Will Hunting and he gets his Oscar moment of like kind of knowing when to turn the dial and when to keep it down, because like his early career is so defined by the Good Morning Vietnams, the I'm going to go out here and I'm just going to be I'm going to be manic, or I'm just going to straight up do my comedy bits like on for the screen. Like Good Morning Vietnam is just extended clips of his comedy specials that he's just channeling to a character. And then we get Aladdin, which is just all zany all the time, 100% dialed up. And so now we're kind of getting to the point where he's figuring out kind of where to start and stop, figuring out some different speeds to his performances.
So let's dig into Robin a little bit more. I want to bring you in here, Christine, because I want your take on, is this the hottest Robin? I know you're not going on this full journey that we're going, watching all of these Robin movies, but he's a cultural icon, and it's not necessarily for his looks. But I think in this movie, he is full Harry sex god mode. Do you agree?
Yeah,
Big
he
bear.
is a bear.
He is.
Mm-hmm.
He is. The linen suits. I
Mhm.
mean, come on. He's so South Beach. I love
Really?
it.
You've
Yeah.
seen guys like this just like soaking up the sun?
Oh yeah. No, he looks like he belongs. I'm here for it.
Is this like the best use of chest hair in a movie ever?
I would be just so curious to see what the Mount Rushmore looks like. I mean, I'm over here trying to channel some of it, and it's pathetic. Like
Yeah.
I'm not getting even close to how hairy this man is.
Oh no, it's
he's a monkey. We've talked about it. Like his hands are fully covered in hair. It's like he's gluing hair to himself.
But it looks perfect in something like this where you're like, I don't know, he's got a tan. Is he Cuban? I don't know what this character is supposed to be.
He's
Like, sure,
Jewish.
maybe he's just a hair.
he's very
pretty-
Jewish
Yeah.
in this movie.
No, but I'm talking about like this, about Armand in South
No,
Beach.
that's
Like
what-
this guy, like he looks like he fits right
Yeah.
into this
Goldman.
culture.
he tans, but yeah, he's
The D is silent.
Tan.
he's playing a very Jewish character. The mustache is key to me. I don't know why Robin didn't have it more often. Probably just because like there are only so many parts that require a mustache. However, perfect candidate for this man. Big head, no upper lip.
Right.
Mhm.
Grow a mustache, folks.
Hey,
Pro tip.
I'm living proof of that right here. So just facial hair can cure all ills.
Right.
Yeah, he owns the Fit Zone. They've aged so tremendously well.
dude.
so
The
many
look of the
great
movie in
mods.
general, and a lot of that I want to give to Nichols. It looks great. It looks
Mhm.
pretty phenomenal.
That
It's
shot
so-
of them at the bus stop with the huge ship
Yes.
behind them.
It's so
Oh.
bright and colorful, but not in like a gaudy way. Like I think it's just because it's on the mind because there's a new Baz Luhrmann movie that's out right now, which Baz Luhrmann knows how to do colorful and bright to the point that it's like nauseating. And this movie, just the use of pastels is just so perfect
Yeah.
in this
the
movie.
blues, the pinks,
I
the
want to
yellows.
just like live. I want to redesign my home to just match this vibe.
You don't
right
want a
here.
giant cross on the wall
No.
here on the pod
No,
studio?
that's what I'm talking about.
Oh,
is
okay.
that's what I want to do? Well, because I need to get rid of all the dick statues at my house. That's the first thing I have to do.
There's so many hilarious moments in this movie.
Yeah, there are really, really good jokes in the script. But then the second piece of the puzzle I was talking about is that they clear out the lane for Nathan Lane a lot.
Yeah.
Because Mike Nichols comes from a comedic background. He's a funny director. He knows that sometimes you don't need to cut if someone's just being really funny.
Right.
And Nathan Lane does like slapstick, basically. Like he's so all over the place.
Man, him and Robin on set must have been a riot.
No, yeah, there's a key trivia thing about the movie is that Nichols insisted that they get the actual script right once, and then he would let them do whatever, because Nathan Lane improvises a shitload as well. What were you saying, Christine?
I don't know. It's already gone. It's already gone.
Mike Nichols, are you familiar with any of his other work? Because I was going to talk about that. Obviously, The Graduate. But he has a couple other ones.
Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf is huge.
I know his name, but I haven't seen any of the others. I mean, I've seen like bits of The Graduate, but
I remember in college, there was a class that showed us carnal knowledge. Y'all ever heard of carnal knowledge?
I've heard of it. I've
That
never actually
familiar.
seen it.
It's Art Garfunkel and Jack Nicholson.
Oh.
And it's like, how do I describe it? It's kind of like Marriage Story-esque, but it's more conversation driven.
Okay.
It's not like a lot of big set pieces. It's like a lot of talking, a lot of arguing between these two couples.
It's hard for us to like kind of put into terms how big Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf is whenever that movie came out in 1966.
Catch-22
he
as well.
was relatively young at the time. This is his very first movie based off of a huge book, and he kind of just knocked it out of the park. It's one of like the best movies of just people talking ever. And I mean, that's kind of like, you make a movie like that as your first movie and you kind of have a hall pass to just do whatever you want. For the
and
rest
then
of
The
your
Graduate
career.
was the highest grossing movie of the next year.
Yeah.
Like
so he's
so
just right off the bat just came out swinging.
Have y'all heard of this movie, What Planet Are You From, with Gary Shandling? I like
That just
vaguely
sounds hilarious.
remember this.
Wait, a Gary Shandling movie with Mike Nichols?
Yeah.
What?
Annette Bening, John Goodman, Greg Kinnear, Ben Kingsley.
wait, I think I have. That sounds really familiar.
It's about an
Wait,
alien.
what?
I like vaguely remember
Oh my
this
god,
movie.
I'm pretty sure I've seen it.
There's like a
Wow.
deep-seated memory in the back of my brain.
Yo, I want to. Where's it's
timeline.
on? Guys, it's on Tubi.
It's on Tubi.
It's on Tubi right
Oh,
now.
then it's
All the
probably not
best.
good.
All the best shit is on Tubi. No, I think that like Tubi is low key. They're just like collecting infinity stones of C movies, and they're just going to one day.
I've
Rule the
watched this, but I
world.
don't remember it.
Wild career for Mike Nichols overall. Like he started so strong that like generally it was seen as sort of a, not fully living up to that, because how do you live up to two straight, all-time bangers as your first two movies? But to put Birdcage out like 30 years to the year after your first movie, and
it's like a second peak,
and it's this good, and you could say that like the last like truly impactful and like legendary thing he ever did was Angels in America, the AIDS miniseries on HBO, which was like when it dropped, it was the biggest deal on earth.
You're not a big Closer head?
I knew you were gonna say some shit about
Natalie
Closer.
Portman in a pink wig.
It's very cool. He still had a lot of touch in this movie. Like there's a lot of tact with the way it's directed. Like I said, when he needs to just like let comedy happen, he does. I have never seen there are a good amount of shots in this movie of Robin Williams trying not to laugh at Nathan Lane.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like, I think that it's almost like intentional keeping it in there because they're like, oh, there is that like one actual line that's delivered in like a really tender moment of like, oh, you're laughing at me. And he's like, yeah, you're right. I am laughing at you. And I always will laugh at you because you're the only person to make me laugh. And it's like a line like that makes sense why they would just keep in those shots in which, like you said, Nathan Lane is just doing slapstick stuff, and Robin Williams, you see him smirking like he's just actually trying to hold it in.
The John Wayne joke is
just so good.
Perfect joke.
No good. Actually, it's perfect. I just never realized John Wayne walked like that.
That's genius.
So
That's
straight-faced.
perfect.
Yeah, the entire sequence of him trying to them both basically trying to figure out how to not act quote unquote gay is
Feminine.
That
so
brunch scene
quality.
is incredible. Oh, the Dolphins, 4th and 20 in their own 32-yard line.
teaching him
That's
how
like
to
me trying to talk to you guys when you watch sports. Like, dang.
It's just like unbelievable. Is that good? I don't know.
I don't know. When he's trying to teach him how to butter toast and he's like, and then he like accidentally throws the toast and he's like, no, you're not that upset. Sometimes you say to yourself, Albert, you pierced the toast.
The brunch scene is so good. It's
that
so
is such a
funny.
great scene.
Yeah.
That is just a perfect scene because it's just throwing all these just classic jokes at you, but then it's also setting up this kind of plot of them trying to be someone they're not. And then it's also just letting you in on their relationship and how they treat each other and how they kind of have this rapport, this back and forth after being together for 2 decades or something like that. It's just like all these layers just packed into the simple scene of them sitting at this restaurant. It's so perfect.
It's so good.
It's so perfect. Okay, so I want to talk about the queen, Christine Baranski.
Dude, Baranski coming in here in like 2 scenes and just being horned up for all that chest hair.
Exactly.
Just cannot resist. This man is just like, she knows that he is in a 20-year relationship and gay, and that just does not stop Baranski for just going for it.
She is just
We admire
running her fingers all the way up and down this man's chest hair. Just fully just raking it up.
Yeah, she's pulling like bugs out of there. She plays Val's biological mother, who we find out officially that Armand is the biological father. He fucked her twice from 2:30 to 3:30 p.m. or a.m. Her inclusion into this story is absolutely nutso. It makes a lot of sense that would happen in a stage play because you don't have to worry so much about geography and like, where the fuck is this lady? How is she still in the city that they're in? It's 20 years later, blah, blah, blah. Just logistics don't matter as much in a stage play. It's just more about like a character walks in and you're like, okay, I guess we're here now. In the movie, it's a little absolutely nuts that like in the middle of all this insanity of like the senator is on the way down. We are revamping the entire house. Also, Val is like, yeah, no, whatever, just whatever woman. Yeah, my biological mother. Sure, I guess I'll meet her for the first time ever.
Well, like he sucks, so that's why he doesn't care.
I know exactly. He's
no
a sociopath.
Yeah, he has no empathy for anything.
He's a cold-blooded sociopath.
Emotions.
He's like, yeah, no, if she'll do it, then fine. But if not, whoever the fuck else, I don't give a shit.
Also, like, so going back to like explaining what this universe is, if we're gonna like hyper analyze here or pick nits, so Christine Baranski also, like, she lives in Miami, or at least the greater Miami area. She has her own business like, what was it, like a plastic surgery type business, kind of something like that. But she got rich off of Armand's money. She's like, there's a throwaway line in there just like, oh, well, you should have bought stock in this place whenever you gave me money for it. And Armand's just like, oh, it was a good enough trade to get 20 years of Val out of this. So it's like, wait, what the fuck? Did he just give her like millions of dollars so that he could buy his kid from her?
Let's throw it to our resident Christine.
Yes.
So
is that what the gays have to do in Miami?
So Christine, tell us about Christine, because she is like, what can you infer from the layout of this city, of like where she might be, what her place of business is? What does she do?
I've always forgot. I thought it was like a fitness thing.
Maybe that's what it is.
Who knows?
Yeah.
I know
Is it
it's
like a
superficial.
tanning studio?
It's probably all in one. It's Miami.
Mani-pedis.
She's rich
It's
as
probably
hell.
like you can go there, get Botox, get tan, and like take a Pilates class. Like it's probably all in one.
Inclusive.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
did you feel like South Florida representation when she was stuck at that bridge
Yes,
with the boat
okay.
passing?
So that's what I was gonna say. Is like Miami is just if you've ever, I never went when I lived like in Palm Beach, like, which is where, the senator and his family thought they were going to go. Vastly different
The
than
Jeb
South
Bush
Beach.
situation.
Yeah. But Miami's just so big and the traffic always sucks. Like I spoke with someone recently at work and we both agreed it's worse than any worse day on I-4. It's always worse down there. The way like 95 splits off into like all sorts of crazy lanes. I believe that she could be in the same place, like the same city area as her son, and never meet him. Also, because he's crazy. He probably never wanted to meet her. He's a psycho, so he probably just didn't care.
Maybe it's her fault. You know what I mean? He spent his whole life knowing that his mom lives like across a bridge, and she's just like, I don't really want to.
She's like, I got this studio. I have a receptionist who's reading Nietzsche.
That's the thing is that like
incredible throwaway bit that the receptionist of this like yoga studio Botox place is just sitting there reading Nietzsche.
The thing is that there's Miami and there's Miami Beach, like South Beach, right? So she's probably in Miami proper across the bridge, right? Because we see her going across it. So yeah, that's a whole thing where it's like Miami people don't want to go to Miami Beach.
And there's like the different islands and everything that aren't really like fully islands. Like it's hectic. So when she's stuck behind that, like, on that bridge, I'm like, that's relatable. It used to, when I lived in South Florida, I would travel 45 minutes. It was just a 45-minute drive to school. But at the wrong
to travel
time,
like 3 miles.
Yeah. But at the wrong time, it used to take me 2 hours to get like back and forth. So I believe all that. Like that wasn't that hard for me because, I was like, also, I've lived it.
Well, and because of that, it's cool that he really did get a shot of Christine Baranski at the very front of a long line of cars at a drawbridge. Yeah. A helicopter shot. That's cool as hell. The aerial Miami-ness of it all made me think of Dexter, because that show had so many random ass helicopter shots of traffic.
Right.
As someone, I see myself as a bit of a Miami expert because I'm currently watching season 2 of Jersey Shore.
Oh, good.
Oh, yeah.
You've also seen a lot of
that's
Burn
the
Notice.
wrong shore, but that's
they do
close
in fact
enough.
go to Miami for season 2. You fucking buffoon.
Real fans know.
Did they
Ernie,
rename
edit
it?
that out. You're gonna embarrass my guy.
We can't have that here.
Mm-hmm.
I love that they did shoot it there because they easily could have just shot it in California and just been like, yeah, whatever.
No,
Yeah,
this movie is
like when Dexter goes to Tallahassee and they're like, look, it's Tallahassee. Don't mind the palm trees everywhere. You're like, I don't know if that's quite North Florida, right?
none
But
of
that's all right.
hills. All right, guys. It's about time to talk about Hank Azaria.
Oh,
It was coming.
okay.
the problem with what's his character's name?
Agador.
Well, not in the
No, Agador.
The problem with Agador. So Hank Azaria,
Agador Spartacus.
is
Agador Spartacus.
in reality what you would call like not of Latin descent.
Right.
IRL.
Well, I looked it up and it's like you can stretch it enough that like because I was offended, like as a Colombian man, when I saw him on screen, I was like, I do not approve.
You're
of
like, this man is
at
white.
all. But then I Googled it, and like apparently Hank Azaria's parents are from some type of Mediterranean descent, some kind of like Spanish tangential locale.
Okay.
Greek adjacent
His,
Italian.
that ain't what he's
his
playing.
grandparents moved from Germany to Argentina in the 40s.
And that's all we know, and you're not going to ask anything else about it.
So Hank Azaria, obviously of Simpsons fame, he voices like half the characters on The Simpsons. He had to recently stop voicing Apu because he is Hank Azaria.
Right.
He got the SAG nomination for, I think, supporting actor for this because he is like acting his little butt off, obviously.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't originally want to do it because he wasn't like Hispanic. Like, I guess they basically, I was listening to some trivia about it, and basically he was adamant about not wanting to do it because of that. And I don't know who it was that convinced him, but they turned around and they were like, okay, but what about Apu? And he was just like, he was doing the voice.
Yeah, he was like, well, I'll never stop doing that. That's for sure.
So
he's like, the Islamic people won't mind that one. That's fine.
That's really funny.
So he originally didn't want to do it, but it was the
But
90s.
That makes
Money.
it better.
This is. I mean, would you do racism to work with Mike Nichols?
Sure. And Robin Williams and Nathan Lane. Sure.
Sure.
It hasn't. Obviously,
It is-
it hasn't aged well. It's like one of those things that I kind of is a huge nitpick for me from
It's
this
just
movie,
it's one
but
of the other things. Just because Robin Williams is playing his part so tenderly,
yeah.
then you get Hank which like it makes sense for the character
Hamming it
because the
up.
character is like a wannabe drag queen who's like way over the top. So
Right.
it's not as like he's just pulling it out of nowhere.
Right.
But the S's are
Well,
a very certain way.
Hank Azaria he's a named actor, right? Like I feel like it's a lot
back
tougher.
then he was like getting himself a little career going.
Yeah, it's
for
a
sure.
lot tougher to put someone in that role that doesn't have any type of
which
resume.
a gay Latino in
Yeah.
the 90s.
It's
Well,
all,
I mean,
that's,
those
again, it-
people are out there. Those people are working. Those
I
people
know,
are trying
it's
to
just-
get jobs.
But if you're
Right.
getting a movie greenlit and you need like a like sixth biggest actor to be in your
Exactly.
movie, you know.
What I did
That's-
like is that when we see the opening number with the drag queens, there's a lot of like legit drag queens.
Oh, that's a
in
drag
that
show
number.
we're watching.
Yeah.
That's that's just a drag
So
show
it's like
straight
the
up.
movie kind of gets a pass that it's able to do that,
Mhm.
but then it has to compromise to put Hank Azaria in that role.
That's what I mean about like the 2022 lens that you're going to put on a movie like this whenever you are watching it. And I mean, that's not even in anything derogatory or I don't mean that in like anything negative way. Like there's been great progress. If we were making this movie now, then this would be more inclusive and have actual LGBTQ people in
Right.
in these roles.
In every role.
But in 1996, that wasn't a thing. These actors were around, but they weren't, for the most part, openly showcasing who they truly were because they couldn't really get these parts. And if they could, like, then you had to risk that, oh, I'm just going to be pigeonholed as I'm always going to be the gay actor.
Right.
And so it's difficult situation to walk.
Wait,
Hank
let me
Azaria
ask.
is fun for what he's doing in this role. Like he does have some good laughs if you can kind of put on the blinders that it's a white dude doing
The way
Guatemalan
he
voice.
bows when he presents food is
Yeah.
that's
Him-
really funny,
him-
man.
How he just refuses to wear shoes.
Let me
Oh,
ask you,
just-
Christine, about Hank Azaria, because I'm curious. Like you said, you saw this movie very young, and you were talking about how like when you were young, you didn't pick up on all these things. Did you ever find yourself like in a particular rewatch, kind of like being enlightened to like some of these nuances of some of the, I guess, like quote unquote controversial casting happening here?
When I got a little older, then I was like, oh, I mean, that's not going to age so well.
Right.
But I love his character so much. Like, I kind of do like put the blinders on. I'm not saying it's okay. But
It doesn't
feel like
ruin
it's
the
hard because I
movie.
feel like he played it well, and I know people who are very much like his character.
That's
I feel
the
like he
thing.
didn't do it
Yeah.
he didn't mean it with any like malicious intent or like to be offensive. Like he
Mhm.
tried to become him. Obviously now, like, it would be someone else playing it. Like it would be a gay Latino man. Which I mean, in that case, like, who would you guys cast as him in the movie that we were making with Timothy? What's his face? Futterman
As Val.
As Val.
Timothy Chalamet is Val.
Julio Torres.
Julio Torres would be perfect. The thing is that it's tough because, like, I think that now we're so past the curve that now it's like it would be regressive. It would seem regressive to put a gay man in a role that's so overtly feminine, kind of like
It's
Well, I mean, I don't know because that's not like saying that you can't make a movie like this anymore. Like, what was the movie that just came out on Hulu fairly recently?
Is it Fire Island?
Fire Island. Yeah. Like, what if it wouldn't be make this person of Asian descent instead of Guatemalan or Hispanic descent. But what about like Bowen Yang in this? Bowen Yang would fucking like eat up in something like this, and maybe it's not.
And he'd be going
his
as
character
this
but,
big.
Yeah, but like if you had somebody like that who's able to do broad comedy, like big comedy in a great way, I think that like Bowen would kill something like that, or an actor like that.
Yeah, it's not like a winnable situation. And overall, this movie comes down very much on the right side of things because the heroes are gay,
Our dads
are gay characters. Yeah, and speaking toward the opposition, the lampooning of conservatism aged really well.
Dude, I want to talk about Gene Hackman. We have to talk.
God.
Gene Hackman's so fucking good in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, I just saw him
on the ladder talking to the
so
he's hilarious.
again, like this was also my first time watching this movie, or I think that whenever I was watching it, certain scenes looked familiar that I feel like I watched this maybe like in my theater days when I was younger, and it just like I didn't fully process it. Shocker, this movie would be big in the theater scene. But whenever you see Gene Hackman appear, I kind of was just like, oh, look at Gene Hackman getting a paycheck to just be like conservative, grumbly guy. And I wasn't really expecting him to have as much fun and to own this role. But the very first scene that you see him in, it's cutting to like the senator's house, and we get like a lot of information thrown at us. The first thing that we see is him on a Fox News type show where him and another conservative Republican are just screaming over top of each other. And he looks over at Dianne Wiest and he says, "This is the smartest show on television." Just great laugh there. And then we find out that his cohort, the president, he's the vice president of the Coalition of Moral Order. Incredible name. And his president died in the bed of a black underage prostitute.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, brother.
And it just
God bless America.
Situation.
Yeah, and so generally, like in broad strokes, conservatism is being painted as this like morally empty, like image obsessed, basically fallacy.
The Coalition of Moral
Yeah.
Order. Yeah, like that's just a joke in itself. Also, they keep harping on the fact like, of course it had to be a black prostitute too, and just brush over the fact that she's underage, that she's a minor, because that's
Or that she's dead.
yeah, or that like it's all just kind of like again poking fun at the whole
because he doesn't care about that. He cares
doesn't
about
matter.
how bad it makes him look.
Right.
That's the general poke that they're going for. And it works really well. It's aged well. Even the specific names they're referencing aged really well because there's a lot of the Jeb Bush mentioned and people
like
like
Clinton in there.
yeah, Clinton and Bob Dole is mentioned
Yeah.
a lot, who's like eternally funny.
Well, there's kind of like a perfect. I guess I want to credit Elaine May with this, but maybe this is in the original film. But there's kind of like this razor sharp streamlining of how this plot is delivered as we get into the second half of the movie, where you mentioned this setup of like how he wants to be perceived, how he wants the scandal to go over, but then it's like they want the wedding to be a solution to the scandal.
Exactly.
And
A
they're
big
running
white
directly
wedding.
into another scandal with the birdcage.
So basically it's like
so genius.
So what I said earlier about like irony being in the premise, that is used as a tool to like to double, triple, quadruple the irony. Like the entire it's almost like most episodes of South Park where like the plot is the joke. Like what's happening is
and
the
there's
funny
not
part.
a lot of other subplots going on.
Yeah.
Like it's just this.
Yeah.
There's not any baggage on this movie. You're not cutting to like what is the bartender at the birdcage doing and their struggles. Like
the only
it's just this.
Yeah, because everything we're seeing, even the subplots are related to it, being the reporters who are tailing them from their hometown down to South Beach. So it all makes pretty perfect sense. And I don't know, it makes things funnier. It also makes it so when things come to a head, even though it's played very comedically, the tension is still really, really strong because like the entire story has been coalescing to one point and that point is this meeting at dinner.
Yes.
Where we like everything has to go wrong. Like there's so many these Val and what's the daughter's name?
Barb. Don't call her Barbie.
Val and Barb are so stupid. Like they told they said that they have a different last name. Like how long are you going to be able to keep that up
Well,
for?
because he's also like
because he's Jewish too.
Of course.
Yeah, he also hates
yeah,
Jews.
of course. He, in
This
fact,
is the
like
worst person.
yeah, in fact, he seems to
gets
hate
right
Jews
in
more
with
than
his
anything.
family.
Yeah.
You know, it is a thing of like we're gonna get to the like what you doing in the categories and everything else, but like, dear God, it's so much worse on this family that Val is marrying into than it is on the family that he's trying to hide.
Yeah.
Like you dead sprint far away when you find out that you're marrying into like a Jeb Bush type. Like, get the fuck out of there.
That's what Val is like conservative.
Yeah, straight up.
Yeah,
Ugh.
like he's in a fucking
He's just
frat.
a piece of
like,
shit.
how
Like,
did you turn out
Homophobic,
this
he's
way?
terrible. Oh, I hate
As
him.
you're removing the 17th thing off the wall of your father's apartment.
Hey,
Your father's
don't-
like
hey.
gorgeous apartment.
Guys, don't add, just subtract.
That
it's
line
like-
pisses me off so much. Like, it
Just
makes me want to break my laptop.
It's just
I'm
like,
so mad.
how do you not stop and think about what you're doing
Mhm.
and what you're making your father do?
Yeah, he's so irredeemably a piece of shit. And it's the only a bit of redemption that we get before like the final reveal is during this dinner sequence. Him and Robin are both very similarly handling how big of a disaster it
Yeah.
is. They both keep sneaking back and just binge drinking.
Jameson.
that's-
Yeah, and it's very cute to watch them and just be like, I know it's bad, okay? This is all bad.
It's a
bad.
bonding moment.
I will say, because we blamed I feel like we kind of came down on most of the problem being in the script, not in Dan Futterman's performance, but
I don't like the fucking guy.
his acting when his biological mom, who he talks to for the first time in 20 years on the phone, is
Nice to meet you.
not what I would call great. It's hi. Yes, this is Val. I'll see you tonight, mother. Like it is not great, not
He's
ideal.
psychotic.
He
His
is, yeah.
character's gonna murder someone.
Like, we need you to play this like you are going to strangle Barb tonight. Like you're gonna, the scandal. There will be another scandal. It's not being captured in this movie.
So let's talk about this dinner a little bit more, because this is kind of like what the whole movie is
Yeah, this is
leading to.
this is like kind of perfection. Like it's
Yeah.
the whole movie is leading up to this dinner. It's such like a classic setup, down to the point of like the as soon as Nathan Lane walks in dressed up as the mother figure, it's like, oh my God, this is like it's kind of like a twist on what we saw in something like Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He goes
it's just
full Mrs. Doubtfire.
yeah, it's that whole thing of like we want to see we can see where the scenes are going, and we know that the disaster is coming, but still like you can't look away from the car crash. You just want to watch this whole thing unfold.
That's what I was saying earlier about the reactions. The camera gets so close
Yeah.
on Robin.
Mm-hmm.
His reaction to
His
seeing
eyes.
Nathan Lane. Yeah, like holy shit, that is a perfect moment, because like when you see Nathan Lane in full drag, it's like I screamed. I just fully like gasped loud as fuck. And to have my reaction pair with the shot of Armand reacting is like, oh,
Yeah.
just
And
chef's kiss.
Another reason it works really well is because at that point, where we know enough about Gene Hackman and Dianne Wiest characters that we know that they're fucking weirdos. And so they're not immediately going to be like, that's a guy. Like, you know what I mean? Because
Yeah, because you almost think like, are they gonna go along with it? Is this like a some like it hot scenario?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It almost is with Gene. Gene is
Dude,
vibing
Gene
so
is
hard.
Horned
dancing.
up for Albert.
Well-
Jean is just like low-key, like just like she's so much more sensitive and kind than you'll ever be, Dianne Wiest.
Well, it's so well established because during the dinner scene before she comes out, Gene Hackman is just like really incoherently rambling about every state. You know, he's
Dude,
just like,
no,
yeah, there's
him talking about the
Pennsylvania.
foliage. Dude, the foliage, he's just like, well, then we used to always go down to Virginia.
Because he doesn't actually have characteristics. He just is
Yeah.
like talking points.
He already said all the slurs that he was
He's
gonna
like, but
say
yeah,
for the
we
night.
think the foliage in Ohio is underrated, because that's literally something he would say on the campaign trail in a key state of Ohio. But yeah, so we're like, wow, this dude is actually like low-key really out of it. And then Dianne Wiest is playing like the over empathetic mother who so badly wants things to be going right that she's willing to overlook anything going wrong.
Mhm.
Like she comes in and she's like, wow, is that Nancy Drew on the cool, wow. You know, like she wants
That's a big crucifix,
Yeah,
a nice Christian home.
she so badly wants to believe that things are going to go right at this. And she is the whole time. Like, that's her role in Gene Hackman's life, is to be like, you know, honey, I think we'll be fine. Even when his life is like imploding around him. So by the time that Nathan Lane comes out, it makes sense the way that they react. It makes sense that we're going to have a whole night of them like buying into this insanity.
Right. So what's your take on this whole kind of dinner sequence, Christine? Did you have any standout moments?
The boys playing leapfrog on the plates.
The
That's just always my favorite. And then they just have to put the soup in as fast as they can. Like,
There's a girl in there.
Yes.
You don't have a girl on yours?
Oh, you don't have a girl?
It's so funny.
Oh no, that's a girl. Oh, that's no girl.
Yeah.
That's just
That
the
also leads up to I think my favorite line, my favorite Robin line of the entire movie, which is once they are putting the soup on there and there's an egg, and the
Oh,
what is it called? The
peasant soup.
There's an egg in the peasant soup, and they're like, oh yeah, and Guatemalans they revere the chicken. A woman is said to be worth her weight in hens, and a man's wealth is measured by the size of his cock.
Yeah. Right before that, he's like, that is actually a huevo.
Huevo.
Yeah.
So good.
there's great script stuff happening the whole time, because to juggle all this and have us believe that like this group is like low-key, like sort of reaches a point of like having a solid time. Like the show tune that they all sing together is like,
Right.
It's really nice. That was like, I don't know, that was like almost my favorite moment of the movie, because you know that things are going to fall apart very shortly afterward. But in this one nice moment, like everyone is on the same page. Even Hank Azaria gets to like bust in.
Yeah.
And belt out the song.
Good camera movement during that scene too. The camera's
Cameras going all over the place during this whole dinner thing.
Yeah, this whole sequence, it is just kind of like
every time there's a shot of every time Robin pours soup into someone's bowl and walks to another person, the camera gets
he's
it's
skipping.
mirroring
He's going
him.
every other person too, so that he does 2 loops around.
And there's
the
no
table.
cuts. It's just following him around the
It's
table.
really cool,
Really
and it's
well
just
done.
it feels so analog, because you can like literally see someone taking steps behind the camera.
Yeah.
In a really nice way, even though it's not shaky cam, like it's super smooth, but if you look close, you can see like the two steps this way. It looks so nice though. And then obviously things have to deteriorate.
I do, before we get to the deterioration, just a couple of moments again, because the bonding between Albert and what's his name, the senator, Gene Hackman's character.
Kripke? Is it Kripke?
No.
Kripke? I don't think that's it. I don't think that's it.
You think of West Side Story? Krupke?
Krupke? Yeah. Officer Krupke.
Wrong movie.
Keeley.
Yeah, there we go. Keeley. Close enough. No, so their bonding is so good. It leads to like some incredible back and forth between the two.
Yeah.
To the point where like you think Gene Hackman's gonna be the one to catch on
Right.
to all this thing when they're just talking about homosexuality in the country, and Albert's just like, oh, Alexander the Great was
Yeah. Yeah, talk
was
about
gay.
gays in the military. Am I right?
The funniest one though is whenever they're talking about, he's just like, look, I know there's some tension here, and it's because the president of the Coalition Moral Authority, that he died with a prostitute. And Albert says, like, I don't believe a word of it. I think he was framed.
Like,
and Hackman just says,
that's
just
exactly
like
what
his
Rush Limbaugh
eyes get
said.
so big. And
Yeah.
he's like, that's exactly what Rush Limbaugh said. Like, so sweet and tender.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Yeah, Nathan. Yeah, Albert.
So good.
Albert spitting out the most deranged viewpoints for like a few minutes is so quality.
Like him just
being
going-
like, no, I think they should kill the mothers who are trying to have an abortion.
Throw
incredible.
the baby out with the bathwater.
That's
I feel like
incredible.
it's not too it's pretty relevant these days. You know?
Yeah,
Right.
no
Something
fucking
like-
kidding. Jesus.
Exactly.
You know?
That's the point that I was getting at earlier. That like it's so sad that there's so many things about this movie that don't feel dated.
Yeah, I know, because Hagman's like, that's interesting.
I might take that up with my platform with Mitch.
Yeah.
It's a unique viewpoint.
Yeah, when he said that, I was like, oh my gosh, this is really normal.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is real life, huh? Yeah.
Like, wow, I thought this movie aged like, I guess it didn't.
Not quite.
That's something that I love about this movie, that it has this ability to be this kind of wacky fun and then also find these moments to really poke.
Right.
To poke for real and in specific parts that maybe it in a way was calling its shot, knowing that these were things that were, I guess, hot button at the time, but like would always be hot button.
Yeah.
We're still dealing
I wonder
with,
what they talk about in the original stage play, like 20s,
Yeah,
Right.
in the
years before
70s.
this.
Because, I mean, they're
In
definitely.
France.
Yeah.
Like, what are those issues?
That's pre like AIDS epidemic and kind of things like that. That by the mid 90s, like we're fully in it of people kind of. Homosexuality is just becoming a thing that's really, really at the forefront in society. I didn't realize. Did you guys know that Nathan Lane did not actually come out publicly as being gay until 1999?
Yeah, man.
Until after this movie was
This
made.
poor fucking
So
guy.
that's something I was going to
Which is
bring
kind of,
up.
I mean, that's a whole other thing that I mentioned before about just like you couldn't get these roles if you were gay, or you were pigeonholed into these type of roles if you came out publicly as gay, that you were just stuck in this time period. It's kind of like the Stone Ages,
Right.
even if some things haven't changed as much as we might like them to. It's timely in a way that I don't think that they even could have anticipated at the time.
Because I was going to ask, like, I don't know. I guess we'd have to like tap more qualified people in like LGBT like media circles, but like I feel like Nathan Lane is kind of like a staple LGBT kind of star, right?
Well, more so than that, he's a theater icon.
Yeah.
He's like a New York Broadway all-time guy. Like,
but is he
decades.
perceived as like, I don't know, like a Billy Eichner or like any type of like these kind of totemic gay media bastions in Hollywood? I guess he's not even Hollywood.
Probably
right?
not
He's
as-
more.
I mean,
Broadway.
it is more broad. He's been nominated for, I think
Yeah.
it's 6 Tonys. Like, he's just been around.
Yeah,
in theater
exactly. He
for
doesn't have
forever.
so many like starring film and TV roles to amass that type of like icon status. Like, I mean, he's most well known among young people for just being Timon.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But
Shout out to the producers, which he is incredible in. That movie is a perfect movie.
Yeah,
the
but he's
best movie about
kind of
showbiz.
similar energy.
But like watching this movie more than anything, I was like watching it. I was like, even if I hadn't have known that he was a theater guy, I'd be like, oh, this is a theater actor, because the amount of body control and vocal control that he has in every second of the fucking movie
He's a star.
is like, it's nuts. So, and it's the only, you only would get that like fine tuning for decades in like, the most competitive situations you can get into.
That's one of the things that maybe has aged the worst about the awards or lack of awards that this movie got.
The fact
is
that
he
Azaria
didn't-
got nominated,
Yeah.
and he didn't.
Well,
for
no.
supporting?
They both
Questionable.
got nominated for supporting at the SAGs.
Oh,
they
he
both
did too.
they both lost to Cuba, because this was like the Cuba year where Cuba won fucking everything. Cuba's sweet this
He's
year.
just perfect. He's just so perfect in this role.
But yeah,
Um,
could you like have kicked out like, I don't know, fucking whoever the 5th person is in Best Supporting Actor at the Oscars this year to
yes,
at least give him a
100%.
nomination? Absolutely. Or fucking The English Patient.
I did want to shout out another moment from that dinner scene. How about them dolphins?
How about them Dolphins?
That just made me
That's-
laugh. That was
Yeah,
great.
one other thing before Baranski comes opening up the door. I love how like There's an alternate timeline where Baranski never comes in and they go home for the night.
Yeah,
and
the note that Val leaves.
And which I want to talk about the whole reporters, because that's a whole other side of this movie that we haven't even talked about before or talked about yet. But where Hackman and Wiest go home that night, and then they end up getting a divorce because he's just like so in love with Albert and everything. And he gets so passionate. He's just like, Armand, he's just this, I've seen this kind of pretentious European before. I mean, she's a beautiful woman from a small town and he's taking advantage of her. Look at the disdain that he has on his face every time that she speaks.
He doesn't even let her run the house, is what he says.
Good. Dude, Hackman is incredible in this movie. Like, this is kind of a lull of Hackman's career. Like, he really brings it back with Royal Tenenbaums as like the best late career
Well, this
Hackman.
was around that same time, right?
This is a few years.
This is before.
Yeah, this is a few years before that.
Was Tenenbaums like 01 or
Yeah,
something?
it's like
01.
Yeah.
So 5 years before that.
I really like the scene where Albert's wig comes off and he's like,
Everyone
it's still
rushes.
me. Everything I said,
he comes
I
up,
meant everything.
He grabs his hands like, still. They are like, but that's a scene, that shot, it almost feels like the one that was improvised that they kept in, because like Albert's playing that like he's confessing his love to Gene Hackman in like that one shot.
And Hackman doesn't, can't comprehend it, but in addition to that, he's so zeroed in on the fact that they're Jewish. Like he cannot stop. He
doesn't even care that they're gay. He's focusing. He's like,
he's like
Goldman?
Yeah. That's very funny.
They're Jewish.
Honey. And then I mean, the two cappers on the movie both rule. Because the first one is their exit from the facility, which is killer. In a theater, you can picture this being a stage play. In a theater, that would play so killer, like
right through the crowd.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
man.
They would all come out, and everyone would be like cheering and clapping, like ha ha.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's so perfect because, again, like the same thing with Albert going full drag for the dinner.
Yeah,
it's the same thing.
It's
like,
it's to add even more irony to like all of it. It's fully reversed.
Yeah, Albert is wearing the suit.
One scene later, this conservative politician is looking thick AF, looking breedable,
looking zaddy.
I hate it.
Yo,
the only thing though is that it ruins the opportunity for anyone to ever pull a birdcage again. Like they're just always going to be looking for it. Like anyone that is ever trying to escape a situation in this way, you can't redo it. Maybe some people haven't seen this movie and you can just walk right past them and drag.
This happens
So
every
is it
day.
often that you need to escape?
Yes.
in
I'm
drag?
pretty sure that
Yes, it is.
the
Christine,
last party
every
that
day.
you had, Ernie, I'm pretty sure I got out of here by doing that.
Okay.
And like nobody
I was
batted
about
an
to
eye.
ask. Yeah.
You were like, who's that sexy lady walking out of
I'm
here?
upset. The next time there's people over, someone needs to leave in drag.
Yeah.
It's got to be worth it for me to come out into the living room.
Yeah, there we go.
The last note that I had before we get into the categories, why don't they kiss? Do we get a single kiss? I didn't clock a single kiss.
No, we know why they don't kiss.
I
because-
know, but
yeah,
like
because you couldn't back then. It sucks.
I wish.
I
though.
mean, that's just kind of it's unfortunate,
yeah,
but that
of course.
is.
And it's not, because it's not as if like Nathan Lane and Robin Williams wouldn't do that. They would do that a million times. I'm sure there are takes of them kissing, like just improvised.
And that's
But you just-
100% a note that they were like, hey, you can say fuck 8 times, but if you want this movie to make $185 million, you can't kiss.
Yeah,
Sucks.
that would just be
Fucking
too
sucks.
much. Even though this
But-
is such a good like lived-in couple, like you were saying, like there's so many tender, lovely moments that should be capped off with a nice kiss, and they're just not, because it's just not allowed.
this movie would
Yeah,
be so
sucks.
complete if we just got one.
Yeah,
Just one little peck. Like even at the wedding at the end, which honestly, like now that I'm thinking about it, they don't even kiss. The bride and groom don't even kiss.
Val
they
doesn't
do,
even deserve it.
No, they get like a like half kiss thing, but I think it's because those two actors just had such little chemistry with each other. Because who the fuck does have chemistry with Val? Really,
But
like
that might
you have
be Mike
chemistry
Nichols.
with Jeffrey Dahmer.
That might be Mike Nichols being like, you know what? If you're not gonna let my dad's kiss, I'm not gonna do a wedding kiss.
Val, Loki, he's gay.
Oh my
Think
god,
about
he has
it.
internalized homophobia.
Yeah, he is covering up
Makes sense.
so hard. Why else would he be like this?
Val definitely like packed up with those U-Haul guys at the Pride Parade to like go bash some brains in.
Yeah, was he with the what was it, the Brave Boys or
Yeah.
whoever it was that just got arrested?
Yeah.
He definitely like
Sick.
helped organize that.
A couple other spare thoughts. The little scene of them at the bus stop is some of the most tender writing of
It's
the movie
so
as well,
good,
where he's
man.
like, it's the palimony agreement where he's like, yeah, no, just take half of it. Like, it's yours. Who cares? I don't care. Let's see. I tried to write down, like you said earlier, Hunter, I tried to write down so many funny lines because there were so many.
There's a lot. A couple other I do, going back a little bit earlier in the movie, the first time whenever we really, well, I guess it's the second scene of the movie, when Albert is rehearsing as like his fairy godmother bit with the guy who's chewing gum. It's just like gum helps me think. Sounds like a waste of gum. And then he says, I don't get it. And Albert says, try more gum. Great bit. And then we talked about Robin Williams' stage direction before. Also, shout out to a movie that's not afraid to let women be tall. Baranski is towering over Robin Williams.
They do a
in
whole
this
little
movie.
dance number.
Yeah, and she is just like fully like has got 4 inches on Robin Williams.
Well, it almost
and they
is
don't
like,
they don't Tom Cruise it. They don't give him like
that's
5-inch flats.
it's
to-
because it's like it's a plus in terms of like visually interpreting the scene because they shouldn't make sense together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So like, yeah, and she is tall as hell.
Yeah, Baranski's she's a tall woman.
Speaking of one of the scenes where Robin's talking to Baranski for the first time and she's like, you know, do you think he was missing a maternal presence from his life? And Robin's like, no, I'm plenty maternal presence. And Albert is practically a breast.
Great line. That's so good.
There were so many jokes that made me laugh. Like I was watching this by myself. I mean, obviously Moo was watching it too. I don't think
Did
he
Moo enjoy
understand any of it, but
Moo was like really sympathetic to the Hackman character.
right.
I was gonna say, what's Moo's views on Val? Like, how does Moo feel about him?
He hated Val. He wanted to chew his face. But I was laughing out loud, like so hard to so many scenes in this movie, which I never do when I'm watching a movie by myself.
It's funny as hell.
Yeah.
Like
I was screaming, dude. This was a great time. Like
Yeah.
I said at the beginning, like I think this is just gonna be like one of my go-tos.
how many times have you seen this, Christine?
This is more than I need to like be able to count. Like,
Hell yeah.
I've seen it too many. Yeah, because when I was little, I don't know where I first watched it, but I know it was on, like I was on cable and it was edited because the scene where they're like lowering the dick statue into a box, like the dick didn't exist. So I was like, I don't get it. It's just a butt. And I was like, I don't get why that matters. Like, leave it out. I get it now, but still leave it out. But I don't know. It was just, I don't know what station it was on, but I'd watch it all the time. And like my mom would just let me. Like I couldn't
Oh,
watch.
yeah.
Was this on
So-
TNT?
I don't know, but I know I always saw the ad for it, and he would be doing the Madonna thing,
Oh
and
yeah.
I would just watch it like all the time. I was like, yeah, I love this movie. Explains
Because
a lot
I
now.
vaguely have a memory of this being on cable, but I was trying to think like all day, like what channel was this on?
I don't know if it was
that I
like-
remember seeing promos for this.
I remember it was, I don't know if it was TNT. Part of me wants to say ABC Family because they like
No way,
What-
an R-rated movie?
they edited it so heavily. Like there were things I didn't remember, and I was like,
Okay.
yeah.
Heavily,
And then I
heavily
watched
edited.
it. Yeah, and I watched it like years later on HBO, and I was like, oh, okay, I get it now. I see.
The full picture has come to light. All right, shall we get to the
Yeah.
categories?
Let's get to the categories because there's a couple other things I want to shout out, but they'll tie into the categories themselves.
Okay, best Robinism is the first category. So this is the Robin Williams series. So obviously, what is the one moment in the movie that is the most Robin from Mr. Williams.
The most Robin is him coaching up the guy
Yeah.
to do the show.
That's
just
the
that
one.
one little thing.
Yeah.
Fussy.
Even
But-
though that's not the most like this part. That's not like the best moment for him in this movie. That's the most Robin moment.
I do love the-
Or I would say kind of the running back and forth with Val during the dinner sequence, like chugging alcohol, and just his face every time he emerges back into a room and he's like, "Oh my God, Albert, what have you done now in like the 30 seconds I've been gone?" Like his exasperation is something that he portrays really, really well in this movie.
I do love the whole Baranski scene.
Dude,
That
That's great.
entire scene, there's some great little Robinisms
there's
there.
not really any reason for why he should just be like really schmoozing it up while he's there. It's unclear. Is he in there for like 10 minutes or for like an hour and a half?
half a day.
Like who knows how long he's been in
do
there.
you have a favorite moment from Robin, Christine?
Besides the whole like Michael Kidd, all that scene, I like in the beginning when Albert thinks he's cheating on him and he's like hitting him and he's on the floor and he's like, "You want to hit me?" And he's like, "No," and he just like gently grabs his face. I love
busts
that.
through the door.
So good.
He rams the door.
I'm glad you shouted that scene out because I love the way that we're introduced. Because this is my first time watching it, and so I didn't know like him and Albert's relationship or anything like that. So you just see that, and it's so well done. Love all that.
What is the best moment in the whole movie? So obviously it doesn't have to be a Robin moment.
Can I include the entire dinner scene?
I think that has to be it. Like again,
That whole
I love
sequence
the
is like
Baranski.
as perfect of like a movie script moment, like execution as you could possibly have.
Yeah. I do love the Baranski scene, but everything is building up to that scene. If I had to pick a specific moment, it would be like the singing bit where they're all like really getting
my
along.
favorite. I was so incredibly happy when they all were singing the show tune together, even though it's all gonna fall apart. Like, it's like right now they're vibing.
It doesn't really make sense, like it or not like that. It doesn't make sense, but it is just kind of like right in the middle of the chaos, right before everything breaks. You have that moment.
It
that,
makes
like, relief
sense because
I could have danced all night just singing "My Fair Lady."
Yeah, they're all drinking. Wiest is sitting next to Robin at the piano, which makes sense. That they would get along better, and then Hackman and Albert are just absolutely going at it.
There's one moment, like right towards the end of the scene, where the camera they like cut like right as it happens, but Albert is like going to like lean his head on Gene Hackman's chest. Like right as they're about to cut, and you know that they had to cut at that moment because they all like started dying laughing as soon as Albert just snuggled up with Hackman.
So many
It's
moments
so well done.
in that whole sequence must have been improvised, like just based on the stories from set and like just knowing Hackman or not even Hackman but Lane and Williams. Like God, what a ride it must have been.
I will say, just if we have to pick something a little bit more defined, the bus stop scene that you shout out earlier, Drew, is just the most tender moment of the entire
I don't even
movie.
know if that is a bus stop. It's a bench by the street.
It looked like a bus,
like a
would
bus
go
stop.
there. Yeah,
But yeah, just the design of it, the colors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to Carnival Cruise Line sailing in the background.
Christine, what do you think when you close your eyes and think about your memories with this movie? Like, what's the first moment that pops up?
Oh my God. I don't know if I can pick one. Probably like the end scene when they're all dancing, but
Yeah.
Sing We Are Family.
yeah.
Family.
I mean that, and then the opening shot, it's just like, I feel like it's iconic. Like it needs to be recognized more. Just that whole like going over the ocean into like just straight into the club. Like,
Perfect.
mhm.
All right.
Good.
Fellas, what would you do? What would you do?
So
So
who are we?
are we?
So let's explain this category a little bit. All right, Christine. So a lot of
It's-
leeway in
Also,
this
it's not what would
category.
you do. It's what you doing.
Basically, if you were a character in this movie, what would you do in this situation? And I think the most kind of audience surrogate character would be Val and Barbie, right?
Yeah, they just
Sorry, don't call her
suck
Barbie.
so
Don't call her
bad.
Barbie.
I would
She
kill
says
Val.
don't call her Barbie.
I'd kill myself.
Yeah, kill myself if I was Val.
I would
No,
kill
well,
him.
So the thing is that you're right that Val is probably the closest thing, quote unquote, to an audience surrogate. But the thing is that if I'm Val, I'm meeting Barb's parents, and I don't care if she's a goddamn saint. I'm running as far away as possible. You're saying that your dad is like basically Jeb Bush? Fucking kill me. I refuse to be a part
I'm not
of this
getting with
family.
her. Another key issue is that him and Barb's plan, generally speaking, is horrendous. Like, it is. There's no way to long term keep the charade
Why?
up. If you're that high profile, you're like, his team, the senator's team, is going to look into these motherfuckers.
Well, also,
you're
like,
not going to get past it. You know what I mean?
Another question, because where are they based out of? Like the senator, where do they live?
There's snow at their home.
I mean,
Yeah,
Virginia, or
Ohio-ish,
something like that.
Virginia, something like that. So, is he running for president? Is that what his plan here is? Because he
no,
tells,
it's re-election for Senate.
well, okay, but then he also like tells Armand at one point, just like, I hope that this doesn't influence your vote. Like, if he lives in Florida, I don't think that he's
I
voting
did
for
think
the
about that,
for the
yeah.
Virginia Senate. That's why I was like, wait, is
I mean,
he
I
running
don't know.
for
These
president
presidents are
right
like
now?
80 years old. He's got a lot of time left.
Yeah.
So.
Also,
Yeah, he's-
also at that point, I think like he's so zonked out. Generally speaking, like he's just
he
reverting
had
back
too
to
many
like.
Purine tablets.
Yeah, he's literally reverting back to like talking points that have been drilled into his head by like his assistants. Like, he's not even saying real words anymore. Because he's like, they're Jewish.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. He's actually just like, no, I love the gays. I just hate the Jews.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I can't put myself in their shoes, because I wouldn't, even if I wanted to be with this girl so bad, I wouldn't do this plan because it's impossible.
All right. New audience surrogate.
Your son
You are-
comes to you.
Kill the son.
No, yeah. Well, no, my son. Yeah, no. He's
Murder.
going to live with Baranski.
You're Hank
Sorry, I had bad
Azaria.
news.
Listen, if I had a child,
Aren't doing that one.
gays-
You can do that one, Ernie. I'm gonna stay away
You're
from that
Hank
one.
Azaria, you're approached for a role in a movie. But you have to be racist.
You're
Okay.
asked to wear shoes that are 4 sizes too small.
new audience surrogate. You are the lead reporter of the National Enquirer. And you get this story.
find it-
Oh,
What
I'm
you
doing
doing?
exactly what they do. They do a great job. to be
Honestly, good
honest.
job by them.
Yeah.
Fuck whatever technology that news studio has that they get like
Oh my
they
god,
get
yes.
pixels. It's in like 64-bit, and they're able to
perfect
like
audio
get
quality.
perfect
The audio
quality.
is what,
What?
yeah, because I have to record a lot of video and audio to get that. Give me that
makes
mic,
no
bro.
sense.
That's far away.
They're
They're like,
outside.
we're going to South Beach.
It's incredible. So good on them.
That guy was just mic'd up. Like,
Yeah.
they just had a mic on.
Big winner.
Turns out anyone can pay that dude. Guy, Gene Hackman, get better fucking security, my guy. I have more thoughts on the National Enquirer people, but they're coming up here in a second in a future
Well,
category.
Well, hold on, because I have more thoughts in this. What would you do? Because, okay, so just trying to follow through the Val situation here, okay? / Barb. I guess if I'm Barb and I find out, okay, if I'm Barb and my dad's a senator, I would probably like just take all his money and never tell him who I'm marrying, and like just don't include them in the situation until the last possible second,
Mhm.
right? Like no preliminary meetings and dinners or anything like that. If I'm Val and I discover that my girlfriend is the daughter of a senator, I tell her the truth straight up, no lies.
Well, she knows.
Okay,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
but
no,
don't
'cause
try
she's
to
cool with it.
coerce her in some type of plan. The thing is that like Val, like he like wants to be a Republican. Like he's not doing this because
Yeah.
he feels like he has to. He wants
Val
to.
has a future in politics.
will-
Val is going to be the next Pete Buttigieg.
right.
Fucking kill me.
But let's just pretend that like I don't want to be a Republican and I'm just like dealing with my dads and I want to love my dads, and then also like this girl that I love just so happens to be like the daughter of,
I just can't, man. Like no
Mr.
disrespect to Barb. Like he's known this bitch for 1 year.
No, so that's I do want to say I think that it's like a thing of, and this is no way defending Val. You will never catch me dead defending Val. But I do think it's like a thing of like our generation is like the first generation to be like, I won't marry somebody who I disagree with politically. Like I'm just thinking of like my parents are just like just thinking about like my mom, my stepdad. They're like, yeah, we just don't talk politics. And I'm like, wait, what?
No, I know. It's just like also Barb.
Fucking what?
Barb could be plenty woke.
Right. Say.
Can Barb and Val have a switch? Can Armand and Albert take in Barb and give Val away?
Yes.
Send him to fucking Nazi boot camp with Gene Hackman.
Hold on. We gotta mention the moment at the end where Val says, "These are my dads, and I love them."
I know.
Like that's a moment where
Fake.
Bullshit.
And I'll blame the actor for that one.
But
like
the
that
movie-
delivery, that he has to really sell that
These are my
line
dads,
because that's his one
and I
line
love
to be a
them.
good person.
the movie, like to me, kind of gets a pass a little bit there because it's like I've spent the entire movie hating this guy. And in that scene, I got the slightest little bit of, oh.
No, I know. He finally, because eventually he has to, like, it's not going to be a movie about this kid, like, killing his parents. You know what I mean? So he's going to have to turn and be okay eventually.
Right.
It just took too long to me.
But then Barb is like, I would have loved to have been a part of your family.
Poor Barb.
I guess you can go fuck off.
Barb.
Yeah, no, Barb just immediately ditches them. Like
Barb hates her family. Diane.
but Barb also is just like, yeah, I'm just gonna ditch
I
you
guess
two
I'll
to go
never
back to
see you
daddy.
again.
Everyone
being
sucks.
abused.
I'm starting to think that like
Right.
this. Yeah, I'm starting to think that
She's like 18. I can't blame her.
Right.
this is a tough one to find out what you doing.
Okay.
Can
but
I
here's-
just be like a bystander, just living it up in
I wanna be
1996?
the
drag
I want to be the guy in the neon orange banana hammock who goes skating by
Yeah.
the little town car that they
No,
come driving into
the
town
guy,
in.
the guy in the most 1996 like outfit with the shades leading the crew out of the stage.
Yeah. I'm
there
a
we
guy.
go.
I'm a guy sitting at a cafe while Nathan Lane walks by screaming, and I just kind of like. Anyway, I'm the extra.
Last thought here. If I'm Robin Williams, I support my son even though he's a fucking Republican and I love him.
But
Wow,
I-
look
I-
at you.
You know what?
Good guy.
But give my I need a little support from my fucking son back. How about that?
Right.
Yeah.
Like to get rid of he's acting as though like Nathan Lane is not another one of his parents when he is.
Right.
Nathan Lane's been in his
Yeah.
life just as long as Armand.
Right.
That's another thing that if this movie's being made in 2022, it's making a bigger deal out of like I think that Val, and maybe part of it is the script, part of it is maybe he didn't have the chops as an actor to deliver this kind of a moment, but like he's giving a monologue of like, you know what, you're right, like I don't need a man and a woman to be my parents. I can have two dads and they can do just as good of a job. They can do better of a job. Like he give a whole fucking monologue about this whole thing, but instead he's just like, these are my dads and I love them.
And then Gene Hackman's like, "You're a Jew."
Any other thoughts in this category, Christine, before we move on about what would you do in this situation?
I just hate Val, and I think they should have poisoned him with the Purine tablets.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Wow. That's
all.
a very specific plan.
Yeah.
Okay. Good Robin or bad Robin?
Great
This is really,
Great
really
Robin.
great Robin.
Yeah.
He's perfectly tuned to this role. Like perfectly.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. How many Robins out of 10?
So this is the first time that we're going to have a great Robin. I would give this like a 2 or 3 out of the Robin scale.
Really?
Because so Christine, how many Robins out of 10 is not like how great the performance is. It is
Okay.
how Robin he is, with Genie and Aladdin being a 10. That is
Okay.
him being zany, balls
Where's
to the
Miss
wall,
Doubtfire
insane.
lie?
Really
What-
high.
I think that was an 8.5, 9-ish.
Okay.
Yeah,
That was
that's
pretty high
pretty high up
See,
there.
the thing is that we're entering an area of this guy's filmography in which this is really going to start to shift, because with this movie he already had his most Robin-y roles. Like
Do we
there's
need to
not a lot.
recalibrate the Robin scale. Is that
Yeah,
what
like
you're
where
saying?
does Patch Adams fall? I have questions because he's like mid-grade there. He's not like he's a little.
That'd
zany,
probably
but
be
he's
like
little...
it's been a while since I've seen that movie.
I think I'm
but
going to
like
give him a 6 for this because he is improvising. He is going a little bit crazy. He's being tense and stressed out and running around a lot. But he's obviously still not going full Robin. And also, the look alone is so, you know what I mean?
Well, that's
Iconic.
my
The
point.
look, yeah.
That's my point is that now that we're getting into like, I would call this like maybe stage 2 of his career. Like stage 1 was like the come up.
Probably stage. Yeah, I guess stage 2. You're
Like
right.
the come up to the peak, right? So we got that heater of like, you know, the Doubtfire, the Aladdin, Doubtfire, Jumanji sort of peak that he gets to. And post that, now we're getting into the second stage.
we're getting
where
into quieter Robin.
we're
Yeah.
we're introducing these different flavors that aren't this like high mania, this like high volume Robinness, but I think should still contribute to the Robin meter in some way.
Maybe you're right. I think it's also because we are coming off of a Cage series in which Cage doesn't have levels.
Right.
Cage, you can actually measure Cage like you are just like actually getting out a ruler and measuring something. It's very quantifiable.
And also,
where
like over
Robin
time,
is-
it's not like it's like a scatter plot.
Yeah.
Like,
Where I think maybe you're right. Maybe I'm closer to like a 5-ish after seeing you guys talking
I might
through
go
this
6 I might go 6 or 7.
because I think like there's still some moments where like whenever we get into like a Goodwill Hunting, he has more manic moments in a movie like that than he does in something like this. This is more about the vibe of a Robin Williams than it is about like Robin Williams being his like most Robin Williams,
Right,
if that
but
makes sense.
My point is that as we're building up to that, it's not just the mania anymore that defines this. Like this is, to your point about it not being like a linear scale, this is more of like a dish that we're preparing and we're adding different elements. You know, you need your protein, you need your
poverty
herbs.
stew.
Right. Yeah. You need different ingredients to throw in there, and
Guys,
each one balances the other
I
out.
have tragic news. Dan Futterman wrote Foxcatcher.
He wrote
that movie
it?
sucked.
That movie is bad. That movie is.
It did.
Guys, do you remember in 2014 when we tried to pretend like Foxcatcher was an important movie and an important step for Steve Carell's career?
Because Steve Carell wore an even bigger nose than the one he already has, and he was like,
You leave him
Look,
alone.
you have to be
Steve
a good
is
wrestler.
precious.
You have to wrestle. You have to
Well, I
wrestle
mean, it was
again.
based on a true story.
I know. And then like, and then Channing Tatum had even more of a dumb guy jaw than he always has. And I love Channing Tatum. I do love Channing Tatum. But anyway, he also wrote Capote.
That's man.
Man, he
So-
wrote. So he's a writer now.
Those are the only 2 things that he has written, and they're both like
He
very
acted
high
in
profile.
something else.
Yeah,
I
he's
saw him
done other
once.
acting. He was in
I've
Fisher
seen
King,
his face
evidently.
before. Oh,
he
wow.
was
Oh,
in
okay.
Fisher King.
Huh.
Is
I've
he
seen
like
his
the
face in
giant?
things before, but I couldn't quite place it.
Is he like the giant like ghost knight that attacks Robin Williams in his sleep?
I
hope
bet you
so.
money that he's just some businessman that Robin Williams bothers.
Who's what's next on the Cage Warriors?
It's the recaging couch.
So I have the answer to this.
Okay.
Because
Well,
first
of all, where do we put Nicolas Cage? in this
So
movie?
no, that's what I'm saying.
The
This
Hank,
is
the
my
Hank Azaria role.
yeah, that's it. So where are you putting Nicolas Cage in this movie?
Val.
You got to make Nicolas Cage.
Val.
He's like, Dad, while he's like 45.
Stop being such a homo. Dad.
No, Nicolas Cage as the National Enquirer media reporter, chasing him down to South Beach,
Yeah.
just doing his like zany things, just like he's going all over the place. He's like, we gotta catch this guy. We gotta get him. He's gotta come out eventually. He's going full Nick Cage mode, just hamming it up in like 4 scenes. And Mike Nichols is like, Nick, I need you to tone it down, buddy. Okay, you're not the star. You have 8th billing on this thing. Okay. That's what I want Nicolas Cage to do in this movie.
The problem with that is that this is 1996. We are in the middle of the Cage
is
songs.
winning. Well, the problem is that he wins an Academy Award this year.
Right.
He wins an Academy Award for Leaving Las Vegas this year.
Yeah. Like
or maybe it's the year prior, but still.
We're about to go into the Rock Face Off.
So let's go ahead and
run.
let's put Nicolas Cage in the Nathan Lane role then, is what you're saying.
I was gonna say make him Gene Hackman.
Honestly, I wouldn't hate that.
I mean, he's closer to Gene Hackman's age as far as like looks than he is to Val's age. So
He could be put anywhere. Make him Barbie.
No, the perfect place for Nicolas Cage in this movie, because this movie, if you throw somebody like Nicolas Cage into a main role, it completely throws off the balance.
He
of
has
this
to be
movie.
Hank Azaria.
No, that's too big of a role. You throw him in. Nicolas Cage plays one of the Kennedys in The Birdcage
Okay.
that you see in the background, like smoking on a cigarette, or maybe throw him on the stage with the drag queens.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Well, I don't want to do that for gender politics, but that's why I'm saying that you put him in the National Enquirer role. He has like 3 scenes where he gets to ham it up, and then that's it. He basically is like another Baranski, where it's just like a couple scenes where he's just like, you're like, oh man, it's so good to see this guy just like having a blast in this movie. But he's never doing enough that makes you like be like, man, I wish I had more of the National Enquirer.
Just combine the 2 Enquirer guys into Nick Cage.
Yeah. And he's playing both characters at the same time.
Yeah, and he's basically
Nightcrawler.
He's Nightcrawler. That's what I was gonna say. He's just doing Nightcrawler.
He's Jake Gyllenhaal.
You're the whole time you're like, he's gonna kill him.
Yeah, he's framing a dead body.
Yeah. So recasting is very interesting because obviously we're not casting another straight man.
You can't recast Nathan Lane. Like, absolutely.
Oh, no.
Perfect casting.
It's
here.
just the pool of out gay men in Hollywood is still weirdly small, especially middle-aged ones.
If we did want to take Val into a more sympathetic route and like really try to make us care for that character more and not hate his guts, you'd throw Leo in there. This is right before Titanic, so he's not massive. So that a Leo DiCaprio type as Val I think would be perfect to make us like really feel a little bit more tender.
So if we're making this today, though, who are we putting in the Robin role? That's the main question here.
So we're making it today. So it has to be a modern actor.
And it has
we aren't doing 90s.
And it has to be a gay man, just so we're on the right side of history here. Tragically, it's definitely not going to be Jim Parsons. I'm so sorry, Sheldon.
Oh, are we sure?
It's not going to be Matt Bomer, white collar. I'm sorry. You're just very pretty. You're not a good actor. Neil Patrick Harris is too cold, I would say.
I don't see him as the Armand character. I could see, I don't buy that at all.
Exactly. It's what I'm saying. Our pool is like really still so small.
Dan Levy from
I think
Creek.
he'd be a good Albert.
Yeah, see, I could see him more as an Albert than I could as a. What about
They almost wanted Nathan Lane to play Armand at one point.
I mean, I could see that.
I mean, Nathan Lane can do a lot. Like he could, he's versatile, but I'm glad we ended up on the side of this.
Mhm.
I think he's too young now, but maybe in like 10 years you could get. I think the problem is he's too hot now, but like a Zachary Quinto in like 10 years.
as Armand.
Yeah.
Armand doesn't have to be
He's not
fucking
too young.
ugly.
No, I'm not saying that he's ugly. No, Zachary Quinto is just hot. Like he's just a.
I know, but there's nothing.
He's a hunky
the appearance
guy.
of Armand doesn't matter.
Okay,
at
hold
all.
on a second. How old is Zachary Quinto?
He's
He's like 40.
Oh my god, he's 45.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
Jesus, Zachary Quinto
Him
is
and
just a
Dan
fucking
Levy.
snack and a half.
Yeah, so Robin Williams must have been around that age in '96.
Absolutely.
So let's go mustache mode Zachary Quinto, full chest hair out, and then Dan Levy as Albert, and we're good to go.
I'm down for that. I can do that.
And then Timothy Chalamet as Val.
I know
Yeah.
we're still. Are we still waiting for Andrew Garfield to come out
He could be bi.
officially?
I
No,
didn't
I'm
know
just
that
saying.
this was a thing.
In 10 years, he would be a great
Are
lead.
you saying that Andrew Garfield is in the closet now?
I'm saying that gay Twitter thinks he is for sure.
Interesting. Okay, maybe he's just
Twitter,
British.
huh?
Did you ever
I
think
will
about
say,
that?
I'm an influencer on gay Twitter. Don't tell them that I'm straight.
This doesn't quite qualify because it's recasting of a character who is not gay, but maybe Val. I think Ben Whishaw could play a good Val.
Leave Timothy as Val because Timothy is terrible. Terrible Timmy.
Why do you hate? I had no idea that you had all this animosity for
A lot of
Chalamet.
people hate.
He's a terrible person.
Is it because of his bone structure?
No,
he
it's
spread an
'cause-
STD.
Yeah, he gave a bunch of girls chlamydia or whatever.
Oh, boo. Okay, then I guess don't go after my Tinder dates.
It's not chlamydia. It's spice from Arrakis.
Yeah.
Also,
on.
that movie sucked. I hated
Damn.
Dune. I hated Dune.
Did you watch it on your phone?
No, I watched it in
As it was
theaters.
intended.
Oh, okay.
Did you watch it on
And
your
all I heard was, I was like,
Yeah,
what's happening?
You know that's right.
And then the worm is a butthole. I've seen the original Dune, I know.
Did you like
Could,
the Lynch Dune more?
No, but it was more entertaining.
So Rolling Stone has an article that says Andrew Garfield on sexuality. I have an openness to impulses.
That man be fucking. And
Can we make Ezra Miller the senator
No.
who dies so that he can die?
He would be a good Val because he's like a cold-blooded
He's missing
sociopath.
right
Yeah, 'cause
now.
I-
you can't cast him if he's missing.
He is. Also, we instead of Miami, we'd have to set it in Hawaii to make him to get him to even be in it.
Well, the problem is he would only do it if like he could have just a plethora of women that he could choke on sight, like just
Oh
if
my
he needed
God.
to in between takes.
Yeah, he needs free reign to assault
Yeah.
anyone.
Birdcage needs to turn into like a full like homicidal thriller. It,
Yeah,
it needs to be directed by
It could be
David
turned into a
Fincher.
horror.
I want to Fincher. Yeah, let's do that.
In the Albert role, Titus Burgess.
Okay.
Yeah.
What?
If you're
What
gonna
is
recast,
Titus Burgess doing?
He's getting
post Kimmy.
He's getting TV roles.
Mhm.
He's staying busy in little TV bits here and there.
God. Kimmy Schmidt was like
He's
the
so
biggest
good
show
in
in
Kimmy
like
Schmidt.
2015.
It came out at like a special time before Netflix, the like Netflix allure kind of wore off, and it was like, oh, you only make 3 shows a year that are important. And Kimmy Schmidt was just kind of one of those shows where it was so special for the first like season or 2, and then it kept going, and people kind of forgot about it.
God,
Great show.
Titus
Great
Burgess
show.
was like,
He's phenomenal.
yeah, everyone
good.
watching that show was like, this guy needs to be in
He
everything.
was the star.
But how many roles are there for a middle-aged gay man? Still,
Of
not,
color.
not many.
Yeah, middle-aged game and add the color element in there.
Not a ton. But
this would be a perfect role.
this is what I'm saying. He's the best choice for Albert. I really think so. He's awesome. He basically is that in Kimmy Schmidt
I
There you
feel like the
I could buy
Birdcage-
Zachary Quinto and
and Titus Burgess.
Titus Burgess. That's a cute couple. I'd go to that nightclub.
Shipped.
I feel like the Birdcage, not to like add fuel to the fire of like movies not being a thing anymore, but this would make a
This
great
is just a miniseries. Yeah, no, it is. If we're making this in modern day, it's an 8-episode miniseries.
I would watch.
You're gonna
the shit out
really
of it.
expand stuff out. You're probably gonna add in more things about some of the actual drag dancers there and
Yes.
everything else like
but
that.
then there's like
They
a
might
Val episode.
There's the Val episode where it's a flashback to him getting bullied at school for having 2 dads.
Well, they might swap it and have it be 2 moms.
Hey,
That's what they do.
Oh,
They do
We
that
could-
a lot now.
if we do 2 moms, how are we doing this?
Drag
then?
King.
Are we throwing Jodie Foster in there?
No,
She's too
that's
old.
the thriller version.
No.
Jodie Foster.
You have Jodie Foster if you're making this a thriller.
Please do
Yeah.
not do
Um,
Ellen DeGeneres. Like now
uh,
that she's done with her show and she's going to try to pursue more acting careers, like
I mean,
Keep
are people
her
gonna let
far
her
away.
act though?
also
I
keep
know.
Sarah Paulson
is
away.
Ellen gonna actually
Whoa,
be able
what's
to
wrong
do
with Sarah
shit?
Paulson?
I don't think there's anything wrong.
I don't want Sarah
but
Paulson in
She's
this.
in enough
She's
stuff.
in enough fucking miniseries, okay? Like Sarah Paulson,
Yeah.
stay away from television, okay?
Let her
Like
have another one.
she is kind of doing the most in TV. So much TV. What
Good for
about
her.
what about
Tessa
uh,
Thompson.
what about okay? Listen to this. So in an Armand type role, because I think that she gives kind of a similar presence. What about like a Jane Lynch?
Interesting. So
I can see Jane Lynch as like an Armand type.
Did you see there was like
the question is who to get as the Albert? But
did you see this Twitter thread that was going around of like somebody who compiled the most unhinged Glee clips? You guys didn't see this?
Glee's an insane
Somebody
show.
did like an
Truly
out of
insane.
context Twitter thread of like the most deranged musical numbers, and I don't think I watched past like maybe season 2 of that show.
It gets crazier and crazier.
Right.
Though.
It gets off the rails.
Terrible.
No, it's idiotic. It's a terrible show.
Not even that, but I mean like how they handled certain topics is
Oh, but that
horrible.
that was from the very beginning. That wasn't even later. They
The very first episode is the wife of the lead like
Matthew.
the teacher just being like, I'm going to hide and say that I'm pregnant, and thinking that she would just get away with that for forever. So like, talk about a way to start your show off right.
Well, Jane Lynch, like her character starts to become more and more into the whole Glee Club thing, because at the beginning of the show, she's not into like being performative or singing or dancing or anything like that. That's the whole character, is that she's against it. And then as the show goes on, they let Jane Lynch be really great at fucking going for it.
Mm.
So I feel like if you tap into that side, and also I don't know if you've seen her on Mrs. Maisel, but
amazing.
right? Yeah,
Yeah,
she's phenomenal in that show, isn't
Yeah.
she?
Yeah,
Mhm.
she rules. One other person for an Armand type, Portia de Rossi. Also, just get her back in our lives.
But then
Love
Ellen will
her.
be around.
But then that's the problem, is that then you're having Ellen on set and the vibes are terrible.
We can't gender swap this without changing like the characteristics of these characters, like what they're like.
Yeah.
You know?
It's yeah.
It becomes a whole different thing.
Yeah.
It can't even be called the Birdcage at that point. It's like the owl.
Please.
Howl.
Yeah, please.
The owl howl. Yeah, that's it. That's it. No rewrites. No, just green lighted as is.
The owl
we need
box.
the Birdcage, but like about straight people.
Yeah.
Ugh.
God, I just really want that. Can we like set it? It'll be
And it's starring like
the
Scoot
club will
McNairy.
be like a Knight's Library in Orlando,
No, it's not
Florida.
Scoot. Don't you drag Scoot into this, you fucking bitch. It's Chris Pratt, dude.
Oh, he
It's
sucks
Chris-
too.
It's starring Chris Pratt and Kaylee Cuoco.
Yeah. And they're like youth pastors, or not youth, they're just regular pastors, like evangelizing about like how
God.
drag clubs are like bringing down the American way.
Yeah, and then it turns out that their son is marrying like AOC's daughter, and they're like, "Ew,
Oh, stinky!
we have to act lib."
Yeah, 2023 remake of The Birdcage from the Gene Hackman character perspective.
Yeah. From the sick, twisted mind of
Ugh.
Senator Keeley.
We have to end this.
Yeah. All right. Any final thoughts on this amazing movie, Christine? Anything you
Thou
haven't
must
said?
die.
Mm-hmm. I know that's right.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta say, in terms of like bringing movies to the pod, you're 2 for 2 on like absolute stone cold killers.
Yes.
Straight
Hey.
bangers.
Yes.
Crazy good movie. Like
I'm
this
old.
is a
I
movie.
got a lot of knowledge.
We should say Christine is 83.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am. I'll be 84 this year.
Oh,
I love this movie. Again, I'll say it. It's gonna be one of my favorites moving forward. Like,
yeah. I would just throw this on any day.
I am so glad I finally got a chance to see it, because I'd heard about it forever, you know, and I just never got a chance to watch it. So I'm glad we're doing this series, because I just really needed to finally watch this, and it delivered 150%. I absolutely loved it. Nathan Lane is a king. He's perfect.
Mhm.
Please put
Love
him in
him.
more stuff
Mm-hmm.
where he gets to shine the way he does in this movie.
Does he act anymore? Has he been doing anything? I know he's
thought he was just
actually
Broadway.
he's supposed to be in Disappointment Boulevard later this
Really?
year. Yeah.
I know.
I don't
he's
know.
in,
He's one of like 18 people in that movie though. So I don't know. And that movie is 3.5 hours long, which by the way, Ari Aster, make it longer.
No.
Make it long. Make it 10 hours.
Absolutely.
Ari
not.
Aster, own my
No.
ass.
I know he's in He's in Only Murders in the Building, which I haven't seen yet.
Oh,
Yeah, well,
okay.
I mean
Nice.
that show is like a theater, you know,
Right.
like if it's gonna be shooting in New York, if it's Steve Martin and Martin Short starring in it. He's still, anytime Angels in America is on Broadway, there's a good chance that he's gonna be in it.
Was he an Oh Hello guest?
I betcha.
Yeah, I feel like they
I'm sure
could.
at the very least they reached out.
Yeah, I feel like they could have him pop on. All right. Well, I think we can wrap it up there. Thank you so much, Christine, for coming on. We are so delighted to have you. Please plug whatever you have going on. Let the people know where they can find you and yell at you.
I know that they can vote for We Bought a Mic on the Best of Orlando Awards.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, boom. That's if you want to get generous, you can vote for. Oh my God, I can't even. I'm done. I'm too old for this. It's past my bedtime. You can vote for Vault 5421 in bar categories if you.
5, 4, 2, 1.
Yeah, if you want to help an old lady out.
Nice.
And
We can
that's
do
it.
that.
If any listeners don't know, Orlando Weekly is a very kind of treasured local publication in Orlando that does the Best of Orlando Awards.
Yeah.
And we got nominated this year.
awards.
Right.
So now vote for us. When does the polling go until?
July
it's for the
something.
End of July?
Yeah, that
so by
sounds
the
about
time
right.
this episode comes out, people will the polls will still be open.
Perfect.
Right.
We are
Stay
telling people-
in line.
It's like
Yeah.
the end of July, I think, beginning like first week of August, something like that. Yeah.
Well, thanks for plugging us, and we hope to have you on again soon, wherever that may be. Just let us know. I know you're a big horror head,
I
so
know. Listen,
there's
I
any
got
big
things in
horror
my back
movies-
pocket. I got stuff ready. I
Hell
got
yeah.
random movies to throw at you. You just let me know.
let's make it happen. All right, boys. I'm glad we're back to Robin mode.
Mm.
I'm glad we're diving into this again because it's been a crazy summer, and we had to hit pause on Robin, but we got a
Next
lot
week
more.
we have a big one though. Next week we have possibly like the greatest film by like one of our great filmmakers ever made.
What are it?
Jack.
It's Jack.
Yeah.
Francis Ford Coppola's.
I don't
Jack.
like that movie.
Oh, most people don't.
It's not.
I don't think I'm gonna.
It's
I
a
erased
very,
it from my memory.
I'm ready to defend Jack as a movie that I loved when I was 10.
It's a
You have
very
Patch Adams at all coming up?
Patch Adams is on the docket. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Thank
Patch
This
Adams
is
coming.
okay.
we're
Bless.
heading into like I said, like stage 2. Like this is where things start to really change up for good old Robin. So there's going to be a lot of interesting stuff coming up. So stay tuned. Thank you all for listening, for tuning in. Please rate, review, subscribe, like, and comment, and let us know what you thought of The Birdcage, which is available to stream on HBO Max. So you can check it out there as of this recording. Please donate anchor.fm/WeBoughtAMic. Thank you, beautiful donors, for donating. And visit WeBoughtAMic.net for the full archive of episodes. Like we said, Jack next week. Also, Nope is around the corner too.
Oh yeah.
So we'll definitely talk about that.
Oh
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
baby.
Yeah. Jordan Peele back. All right. Take care. Thanks for listening. We love you. Bye-bye.
Bye.